That's what I want to preach today. I want to preach about power, and I want to preach about truth. We're going to be going into a series the next 2 Sundays that I've titled The Truth. The Truth. Everybody say the truth. Look at somebody beside you and say, can you handle the truth? Can you handle the truth? You can't. You can. The truth. There's power in truth. And, truth revealed destroys a lie. When the truth is revealed, it destroys a lie. And truth discovered, it brings enlightenment. And truth found clears up confusion. Power and truth. One time when I was a kid in school, I tripped my teacher. I did. I tripped her. And she was walking past, and I had my leg extended straight out and tripped her. And she caught herself. She yelled at me, Lane, how dare you trip me? That's not funny. And then she abruptly sent me to the principal's office. Now, my explanation to the principal kept me from being punished. And had she taken time to hear me out, instead of just abruptly sending me to the principal's office, she would have learned that my leg had been extended because I was trying to see something, and I was not laughing because I attempted to trip her and succeeded. I was laughing because of what I was trying to see. I was laughing because what I could see on the television around the corner in the other room, just outside of our classroom, had me laughing. And I was totally ignoring everything that was going on in our room. I didn't pay attention to anything she was saying. That was cause to send me to the principal's office right there. And I was extended my leg as she walked by and tripped her because I was on the edge of my seat leaning, and my leg was acting as the counterbalance. And the principal, as an impartial judge, thought my reasons at least were plausible. And he said, well, don't do that. Pay attention to your teacher. Especially after seeing the evidence of the television that was playing in the other room that I could see from my seat. And I got out of it. And that was the day that I almost became a lawyer. But instead, I got in trouble for watching TV and not paying attention to the teacher. And so I gave up on my lawyer dreams and continued in 5th grade, as any 5th grader should. So I probably would not have been a successful lawyer because I got myself out of one problem and into another. I use this little example to direct your attention to the power of truth, because the power of the truth was I had not tripped my teacher intentionally as she thought I had. And I was not laughing about her almost falling on her face. I was totally unaware, other than something had kicked my leg. And when I turned around, she was yelling at me for tripping her. But the truth revealed something. It revealed that I was not paying attention in my class. Because there's power in truth. Truth reveals what's hidden behind the lie. Truth brings enlightenment to dark areas. Truth clears up confusion and makes clear what can't be seen in the moment, like me tripping my teacher. We have a problem in our society that says everyone is right. Everyone's right. You speak your truth. You live your truth. Truth is relative. It's subjective to you only. Truth, however, is not owned, and it's not your truth. It's not my truth. It's just simply the truth. There's only one truth. But this issue in our society is not a new thing. J.C. Ryle was alive between 1816 and 1900, wrote, "From the liberality which says everybody is right, from the charity which forbids us to say anybody is wrong, from the peace which is brought at the expense of truth, may the good Lord deliver us. Deliver us, why? Because there is only one truth, the truth, the truth. And if there's only the truth, and it's not your truth, and it's not my truth, why? We must ask the question, why? Oh, why does the enemy spend so much currency obscuring truth, deceiving us? I'll tell you why. Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Because there's power in truth, power of liberty. It frees you. It delivers you. The truth shall set you free. But this truth can't be isolated from the scripture that precedes it, because Jesus said to those Jews who believed him, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. If you abide in my word, if you abide in the truth, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free, because Jesus is the truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Everybody say it. Jesus is the truth. Jesus is the truth. Not everything that's spun in this world, not everything that's presented to us, not everything that is being offered on a platter before our lives is the truth. Jesus Christ is the truth. And everything else is just something to lead us into a deception, something to hide the truth from us. It's something to obscure, to bring confusion. There is only the truth. The truth is Jesus Christ. You say, well, Pastor, that's a little bit reductive, isn't it? It's reductive reasoning. No, if it's at odds with Scripture, it can't be true. If there's only one truth, and this is truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, the life. Now you have to either accept that, or you have to ignore him or disagree with him. There's no other option. There's only the truth. And so I want to preach to someone this morning about the truth. And next week, I'm going to preach about the truth. Mark chapter 4 is where we're going to go. Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. And we're just going to read this. I want to just go through these events with you. It says, on the same day when evening had come, he said to them, let us cross over to the other side. Now, when they had left the multitude, they took him along in the boat as he was. Everyone say, as he was. Now, what scholars and theologians understand is that them pointing this out, Mark's pointing this out, that they took him along in the boat as he was, means that Jesus on this particular day, this particular moment, was exhausted. He had been ministering, he had been preaching and speaking, he had been pouring himself out to those people that gathered up around him. And here he is taken into the boat just as he is, and he collapses into the bottom of the boat to sleep. And it says, and other little boats were also with him, and a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already filling. The words there used, great windstorm arose, means that this was a sudden event. The language there is a historical present. It means this is happening right now. So Mark is writing in the sense of just as it happened right then and there, his experience on that day. This is what we were doing. This is what was happening. And this is when the windstorm arose, and it's happening right now. And it says, but he was in the stern asleep on a pillow, and they awoke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? Do you care what's happening in my life right now? Do you care what's going on in my world? Care that the boat is filling as we speak. Then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Just one word from him. The wind ceased. There was a great calm. And then he said to them, Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, who can this be that even the wind and sea obey him? It's interesting to me, they were afraid of the storm, but their fear was directed at the one who was able to calm the storm. And when he exercised the authority that he had over the very storm that they were afraid of, then they were exceedingly fearful. We are complex people. We're complex individuals. There's no doubt about that. It's interesting, people fear. We fear what we can't control. We fear circumstances that come upon us. And then whenever there's an answer presented, sometimes we fear the answer. We fear what could be the result. We fear what could happen. There's a fear wrapped up in all of these things. Have you ever found yourself in a situation that you were afraid and someone outside of the immediate situation looks at you and they say, well, if you do this, this will happen. And there's an uncertainty there. They can somehow see clearly what you need to do, but you, in the place where you're at, you can't see because of the fog, because of the wind, because of the storm surrounding you. You can't see what they can clearly see, but there's a fear for you. They're saying, no, just do this. It's going to be fine. But there's a fear there. This was the problem that was presented to the disciples that day. Outside of their control, outside of their ability to change what was happening. You can't control the weather. You can't change how the boat is rocking. You can't change the wind, and you can't control the rain or the storm, the waves. You can't do anything about it. But the one who can speaks. And then they're exceedingly fearful because of his ability. But see, whenever you have truth in the boat with you, you shouldn't have to fear the storm. It's always kind of stirred me up a little bit whenever Jesus calms the storm and he immediately turns to me and says, why were you so fearful? Why were you afraid? It's reasonable to be afraid. The boat is filling up with water. The storm is battering the ship. We're going to go down. How are you sleeping right now? How are you so calm? It's reasonable. It's understandable from our perspective. But from the God of heaven, his perspective is you've got truth in the boat with you. If anything, you should have peace in the middle of the storm. You should be at ease because truth sits in the boat with you. And because truth is present, truth has the ability to work in a way you cannot. Truth will silence the storm in your life. Truth will reveal to you what you couldn't see, and you can't see beyond the waves and the rain and the wind blowing. Truth can show you things that you can't see because truth has its own heaven-born perspective that looks at your circumstance and your situation and says, no, you're going to be all right. You're going to be okay. You're going to make it. You just hang on to the boat. You just ride the storm out because truth is with you. But that's a key thing. You have to understand who you're dealing with. Because storms in life are subject to him. If truth is in your boat, you can have peace in the storm. So I don't care what every sense in your body, every feeling that you have is telling you about this particular storm. That the boat is about to capsize, that the water is coming up too quickly in the bottom of the boat, that the rain is too heavy, that the wind is blowing too hard, that the waves are too high. I don't care what every sense inside of you is telling you. I want to tell someone today that regardless of what it looks like, as long as truth is in the boat with you, you can make it. You can ride the storm out. You can make it onto the other side. Why? Because He controls what you cannot control. He can speak in one moment into a situation and say, peace, be still, and everything calm. In one instant, He can open up His mouth and begin to say the words that will bring peace into your soul and peace into your life, and He will smooth it all out with just one word. But we get hung up sometimes looking at the storm, looking at what everything else is telling us, looking at what has happened so far, looking at the history of our experience and saying, this is just the way it is. This is how this storm is going to play out. This is how this storm is going to happen. When He's sitting here saying, why are you afraid? Where is your faith? Because the thing that came up suddenly is not something I can't take care of. The thing that's outside of your control is not something I can't take care of. I am able. I can do what is impossible for you. I can do what is not possible for man. I can take care of it. I can speak and control it. It is subject to me. I have authority over it. And if I'll just say the words, peace, be still, then the storm waves will subside and the wind will calm down and the rain will open up to a sunny sky. All He has to do is speak. And the truth at its weakest is stronger than your circumstance. He's collapsed in the bottom of the boat, sleeping, because he'd already expended himself so much, and he needed rest. But even in his weakest moment, even waking up, trying to figure out what exactly are they talking about. I can imagine Jesus waking up, His eyes. What? Why are you waking me up? I was having a good nap. He might even had a dream. He might be trying to determine between his dream and his reality in the moment. Anybody ever think about that with Jesus? I think about, He was a man just as you and I. He was God manifest in the flesh, but that didn't separate Him from being a man. He experienced just as you and I experienced. He was tempted just as we are tempted in all things. That's what Paul said. So He is completely a man, but in that moment, truth breaks through the flesh and speaks into a storm and lays flat the waves that are surrounding them. And the truth in its weakest is stronger than the circumstance around you. And those waves were subject to Him. When He spoke, they had to bow down. Whenever He took authority and command, they had to get smooth. Jesus in the boat, the truth, exhausted, having collapsed in the bottom of the boat, all of a sudden, a sudden event happens. And He speaks, peace be still. There was a great calm. The Prince of Peace spoke over the storm that came up suddenly. And so He is a right now God. He is a God that works on your behalf right now. And if you came in with a storm today, brewing in your life, brewing in your heart and in your soul, He can speak one word and the wind will cease and a calm will settle in and you'll have peace, because the Prince of Peace will bring truth into your situation and He will bring truth into your life. It's interesting, the parallel thing that I'm going to preach about next week, it's a story that follows right after this. In this instance, peace is brought in a boat. In the next instance, peace is brought on a shoreline. And it doesn't matter where He's at. If truth is there, there could be peace. And it doesn't matter what the storm is doing. If truth is there, there could be peace. And it doesn't matter if it's an external force that's come on you. If truth is there, there can be peace. And it doesn't matter if it's something inside of you, some battle you've been waging and fighting in. If truth is there, there could be peace. And He is the truth. He is the truth. You'll stand with me. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. You shall know the truth. Someone needs to understand that as long as you have Jesus, you have what you need. You've got the truth. And He is the bedrock, the foundation, the cornerstone of everything that matters in this world. Don't buy the world's lies. Well, what you need is this and what you need is that, and we've got the drug that'll help you get through this. And don't misunderstand me. I'm not opposed to using medications. I'm not opposed to counseling. I'm not opposed to many of the things that are presented in this world. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But Jesus, this is what I'm saying. Jesus is always the answer. And Jesus is always the hope. And as long as there is a Jesus and as long as there is truth in the boat, there is always hope. The storm will smooth out. The situation will turn around. It can change in one moment. I don't care if you've been praying it for the last 30 years. In one moment, when He speaks, everything can change. That's the truth. Regardless of anything else, that's the truth. All He has to do is stand up. All He has to do is open His mouth, begin to speak, and everything else changes. Because everything else is subject to Him. It's under His authority. He's been given all power. Everyone say all power. So your doctor is not the final word. I love your doctor. He's not the final word. Your counselor may be a great counselor. Not the final word. Your teacher or professor, they may be great people. Not the final word. There's one truth. There's only one truth. And when that truth decides to stand up in the boat, begin to speak, the storm changes how it's acting. Whenever He decides to speak, the turmoil in your soul changes how it's acting. When He decides to speak, the turmoil in your family will turn around. But as long as you have the truth in the boat, there's peace on the horizon. It's for you. There's always hope. Jesus Christ is that hope.